The informed patient blind dating in aesthetics. You wouldn't take a medication without knowing what it does. You wouldn't swallow a pill because it looked nice on a shelf and someone on the counter said it was just like a popular thing to take. You would want to know what it treats, how long it takes to work, how long it lasts, what it will and will not fix. You would ask what happens if you skip it. You would ask what it costs you to be wrong about it. That is not being difficult. That is being a patient. And yet people book a treatment for their face, having done zero homework on the treatment itself. They want to know something. They saw a video. They do not actually know what the stuff is, what the problem solves, or if it even solves their problem at all. They show up hoping it just works out. That is a blind date. You committed before you knew what you were committing to. And today we're going to fix that because the informed patient does their homework on the procedure, not just on the person who's holding it. I'm Dr. Carol Eisenstat. I'm a board certified anesthesiologist. My entire career was built on the idea that you are allowed to know exactly what is going into you and why. So let's apply that here. The first segment is learning the tools before you pick one. Here's the homework almost nobody does. The treatments are not interchangeable. They are completely different tools for completely different problems. And walking in asking for the wrong one is like taking a cough syrup for a broken arm. Broad strokes, so you know, walking in, what the map is. Neuromodulators. The tox family, they relax specific muscles. They soften the lines your face makes when it moves. Frown, forehead, crow's feet, they do nothing for volume and nothing for your skin surface. If your concern only appears when you make an expression, this is your category. If it's there when your face is doing nothing, this is not. Fillers. They add structure and volume back to places that have lost it. The cheeks, the lips, under eyes, jaw, chin. They are not for lines that come up from movement. They're for lines and hollows that are there when your face is completely still. Filler chasing a movement line is a classic mistake. You're propping up a wrinkle that only exists because a muscle keeps folding it. And no amount of gel outmuscles a muscle. Biostimulators. They are a different animal. They do not fill you on the spot. They tell your own body to build collagen over months. The result is slow, it's gradual, and it's you that's making a change. It's not a gel that's sitting under the skin. If you want to see something on the drive home, this is the wrong tool. And there is nothing wrong with the tool. There is something wrong just with the expectation. Now, energy devices, the lasers and radio frequency and ultrasound tools. They work on skin quality, texture, tone, pigment, laxity, tightening. If your concern is the surface and the crepiness, no amount of filler was ever going to fix that. You need a device. People spend years volumizing a problem that was living on the surface the whole time. So you don't need to memorize brand names. You have to know which category answers which question. That is the single most useful thing that you can learn before a consult because it means that you're walking in talking about an actual problem instead of parroting a product that you saw on your phone. The next segment. Let's get into the problem, not the product. Here is what an informed patient understands. You're not the right person to write your own prescription. People come in and say, I want lip filler, when the thing that's bothering them in the mirror is the corners of their mouth that are downturned and their lower face looks tired. Filler in the lips does not fix that. They diagnose themselves off of a trend and pick the treatment before they even understood the problem. So do the homework in reverse. Don't study which product to demand. Study your own face and name the actual concern. Is the thing bothering you movement, volume, surface, or shadow? Lines that only show up when you talk, hollows that are there in resting photos, skin that has lost its texture, a jaw that has softened. You don't need to arrive with the answer. You need to arrive with the right question. The treatment comes out of the diagnosis. When you lead with the product, you skip the only step that actually matters, and you're going to end up treating something that was never the problem to begin with. Here is the part people do not think of as homework, but it's the most important reading you will do. The consultation is not a formality before the treatment. It's the treatment's audition, and you're the one who's grading it. A real consult looks like this. Someone looks at your whole face, not the one spot that you point out. They ask what bothers you, and they listen to the answer before they reach for anything. They tell you what they see in plain, simple language. And at some point, if it's a good one, they tell you that part of what you asked for is not the right move, or maybe not yet. Now, the tell that should make you sit up. If nobody assesses your face and they go straight to a menu, that is a red flag. If the plan is the same plan they would have sold anyone who walked in, that's a red flag. If you feel rushed, if there's a discount that expires, if you don't book today, if the pressure is to decide now rather than to understand right now, that's the biggest one. Nothing about your face is an emergency. A treatment that cannot survive you sleeping on it was never a treatment that you needed tonight. And another thing is, I want to encourage you on watching how they handle the word no. A provider who will not tell you no is not being nice to you. They're just being easy on themselves. The person who tells you a treatment is wrong for you and loses that sale in that moment is the person who you want holding a needle near your eye. That answer cost them something. That's exactly why you can trust it. You walked in to be evaluated. Evaluate back. Segment 4, know how the timeline actually works. This is the homework that saves people the most grief because almost nothing in aesthetics works on the schedule that most people assume. Tox, it's not instant. It takes days to finally kick in and a couple of weeks to fully settle in. If you booked it for an event on Friday, you needed to know that in advance. Filler is immediate, but it also swells and bruises. So the face you leave with is not the face that you're going to keep. You have to wait out the settling before you judge it. The people who panic on day 2 are the people nobody told this about. 2 weeks later, they look in the mirror and wondered what they were upset about. Biostimulators, they are the long game. I'm talking months. If you want overnight, that is the wrong tool. And knowing that going in is the difference between patience and disappointment. Now, devices, they're usually a series. There's not a single treatment. One laser is rarely the whole plan. And a place that sells you it as one is selling you a fraction and just calling it a whole. And so the part that nobody wants to say out loud, none of it is permanent. Everything injectable effectively is a subscription. Toxin wears off. Filler breaks down. Collagen from a biostimulator is not forever. So the informed patient asks how long before they fall in love with the result will they be back to maintain it. They budget the maintenance emotionally and financially before the first visit, not after. The next thing that I want to get into is why the deal should make you curious. Now, the part that stings because almost everyone loves a deal. I know I do. A great price can be a great price. It can also be a thing that's covering for everything the practice cannot do. When a place competes on price, the informed question is why it cannot compete on anything else. Reputation and skill do not usually go on scale. Discounts are how a business moves volume when the volume is not coming in on its own. Sometimes the cheap treatment means someone is building their hours on your face. New injectors have to practice somewhere, and the discount is the incentive for that. Sometimes it has to be on you. Sometimes it's a loss leader. Cheap tox gets you in the door, upsells everything after. Either way, the price was not generosity, it was bait, and the fish was your face. This is exactly where the informed patient pays off, literally. If you understand what a treatment actually involves, the cost of the real product, the time, the skill, you have a rough sense of what it should actually cost. A number that's far below that is not a win. It's information. It tells you where the corner is being cut, and the corner is usually skill or product or both. And here's the part that matters more than any single price. Aesthetics is not a one-night transaction. It's a relationship. You want an injector you can build trust with over time. Someone who tells you no, someone who remembers your face and what it looked like 2 years ago, someone who's still there next year to fix and adjust and maintain. You don't build that with a rotating cast at a discount mill where you get whoever is free. The informed patient isn't shopping for the cheapest visit. They're choosing a person to trust with their face again and again. That is worth paying for. And the deal that talks you out of it was never a deal. Next thing, the homework questions for you. I suggest you screenshot this. These are the questions that turn I want something into an actual informed decision. All of them are about the treatment. What does this specific treatment do? And what problem is it solving on my face? If you cannot repeat the answer back in one sentence, you are not ready to book. Is this the right tool for my concern, or is this just the one that you have? A good provider will tell you when the honest answer for your problem is a different category entirely or nothing yet. How long does it take to work? How long does it last? Both numbers. You are planning your life and your budget around them. What is the downtime? Bruising, swelling, redness, how many days of it? You want to know before you schedule it, 2 days before a big event like a wedding. Is it reversible? Some things have an off switch and some do not. Hyaluronic filler, it can be dissolved. A biostimulator, once it's working, is not something that you can just undo on Tuesday. Know which one you are choosing. What are the risks and what does it look like when things go wrong? Everything real has a downside. If someone tells you that there is no risk, they are either not being honest with you or not paying attention, and you do not want either one of those near your face. What happens if we do nothing? The most underrated question in medicine. Sometimes the answer is nothing bad, and that is worth hearing before you spend money on a problem that's either not urgent or not really there. None of those are rude. Every one of them is you doing your homework out loud. So I'm going to tie this back. I'm going to bring it back to where I come from because it's the entire point. Before anyone goes under for surgery, we tell them what the medication is, what it does, how long it's going to last, what it feels like coming out, and what the risks are. We do that even though the patient is about to be unconscious and will not remember maybe me or even most of it. We do it because informed consent is not a formality. It's the belief that you have a right to understand what is being done to you before it is done. Aesthetics is the one room in medicine where that quietly became optional. You're awake, you're paying, feels like shopping, and somewhere in that, the homework stopped feeling required. Nobody makes you understand the treatment, so most people just never do. So bring the operating room standard into the chair. You would never accept a medication without knowing what it does. Hold your face to at least that bar. Understand the treatment before you agree to the treatment. The good providers will be relieved because an informed patient makes better decisions and is happier with the outcome every single time. You don't have to be an expert. You have to stop showing up blind. A blind date you can write off as a bad evening. A treatment you did not understand is one that you're wearing on your face while it wears off on its own schedule. So do the reading, know what the tool does, know what problem you actually have, know what happens next, and know how to read the room that you're sitting in. Then it's not a blind date anymore. It's a decision. Yours. I'm Dr. Carol Eisenstat. This has been The Line Eraser. Go do you now.